It is extremely difficult because when you start diving into machine learning, you always end up in one of two fields. So either you're going to use a big famous library like TensorFlow, PyTorch, that kind of thing, and it's just going to do a lot of magic that you're not really going to be able to understand what's going on. Or the other case is you're going to try to understand it, and you're going to find a bunch of academic papers, very heavy on math, very technical, and unless you really have that background, that's going to be very difficult to understand as well. So what I tried to do in the talk that I just presented was give an overview of the most important concepts and then just implement them in plain code, no libraries, no magic, simple code that every developer can understand so that people can understand intuitively what they're trying to achieve, and then I gave them an example of an implementation that they can easily understand. So no magic, nothing hidden, and also no crazy jargon that people without a background in math cannot really understand. So that depends on whether you are trying to use machine learning for in a production environment or whether you're trying to understand what's really going on. If you're trying to use it, there's plenty of options out there. Like I said, TensorFlow, PyTorch, there's plenty of frameworks, libraries, all of that. If you're trying to actually understand without math, it's going to be very difficult. So there is a really good course at fast.ai, which is pretty interesting, but it's also kind of technical and kind of heavy. And so what I tried to do with my talk is just give something a lot simpler, a lot more easy to digest. And after this introduction, then people have a foundation upon which they can build with more difficult things. So when I first started playing around with writing software when I was like 11 years old, I moved to a small town, didn't have any friends, and I had the computer. Later in life, I decided not to work with it. I decided to become a violinist, so I did that. And now, a few years ago, I decided to come back into development. So what I would like to, the message I would like to convey to people who are getting started is you probably have a much better background than you think you do, because being a good developer is not only about banging out keys on the keyboard and writing code and all of that. It has a lot to do with one's ability to learn and basically discipline to study and all of that. And a lot of people come from unusual backgrounds and they think they don't stand a chance, but that is really not true. So, you know, get a good foundation, you know, do your due diligence, but don't be that intimidated by buzzwords and things that sound complicated. Because at the end of the day, most people, they go to work and they just do their thing and that's it. And there is nothing, you know, cutting edge or extremely remarkable. It's all normal humans. And you don't need to have a special talent or to, like I started writing code when I was 11, you definitely don't need that to have a successful career as a developer. There are many skills that you can learn elsewhere in other careers that directly transfer into development. For example, I was a violinist. That made me extremely disciplined, extremely detail-oriented, very stubborn. Whenever there was something I couldn't do, I would just keep at it until I could completely dominate that problem. And those skills directly apply to programming. There's plenty of people out there who started very early, super prodigy, but then a few years later they were not really disciplined or they got lazy or something like that. And the skills you need to overcome these kinds of things, you can get them from any career. It doesn't have to come from a technical background even or anything like that. So people talk a lot about technical parts, but they don't talk enough about, you know, soft skills, which are not really soft skills at all. They're very important skills. And if you have those very well developed, they're going to help you immensely. For example, public speaking is something that helps careers a lot. Management skills, like dealing with a team, dealing with other people, helps a lot. So there's plenty of skills that are going to help you go further, faster in your career that don't necessarily relate to writing code and doing the engineering things. And if you already became good at a profession in the past, I'm certain that you can just as well become good at all the technical parts that maybe you're missing right now.